It's often said that fame can either be a blessing or a curse, and for Liam Payne, the boy who shot to global stardom as part of One Direction, it was undoubtedly both. The highs of his career were stratospheric, but the price he paid behind the scenes was steep. As we look back on his life, a pattern of unresolved childhood trauma, self-destruction, and a desperate search for stability emerges, revealing that no amount of money, fame, or success could save him from his own demons. In the autumn of 2011, when Liam Payne first walked into the world of pop superstardom, it seemed as though he had everything a young man could dream of. Fresh off his appearance on The X Factor and part of a newly formed boy band, One Direction, Liam had the world at his feet. For millions of adoring fans, he was a charming, down-to-earth boy from Wolverhampton, loved for his cheeky smile and captivating voice. But as his fame skyrocketed and the world watched him ascend to the pinnacle of pop music, there was an undercurrent of pain and instability in Liam's life that few could see. While his bandmates seemed to embrace the fame and fortune, Liam's story became one of quiet struggle. Underneath the glittering surface was a boy weighed down by childhood trauma, the pressures of fame, and a desperate need for emotional stability that would never come. Despite his public persona of cheerfulness and success, Liam's private life was marked by addiction, toxic relationships, and a heart-wrenching inability to find peace. From the start, it was clear that Liam Payne was different. Even at the height of One Direction's fame, he spoke often about feeling out of place in the whirlwind of celebrity life. He longed for normalcy, for the simple life of a boy growing up in the Midlands, and yet he was swept into a world where the stakes were high, and the pressure was immense. One Direction was not just a band, it was a global phenomenon that thrust its members into the kind of fame that few are prepared for, least of all a teenager who was still grappling with deep-seated trauma. As the years went by, it became apparent that Liam struggled more than his bandmates to adjust to the relentless demands of the music industry. His growing discomfort was often visible in his interactions with the media, and those who knew him saw a boy struggling to cope. Despite the outward appearance of success, jet-setting on private planes, owning a luxurious property portfolio, and mingling with the elite, Liam's life was spiraling out of control. The pressure intensified when, at just 23 years old, Liam found himself in a relationship with pop star Cheryl, 10 years his senior. What began as a much-publicized romance soon turned into a full-blown crisis when Cheryl announced she was pregnant with their son, Bear. Liam, still reeling from One Direction's hiatus and working on his fledgling solo career, was not ready for fatherhood. He had barely navigated his own adolescence and suddenly found himself thrust into the responsibilities of being a parent. The relationship with Cheryl quickly unraveled, adding to Liam's emotional burden. While Cheryl craved stability and a family unit, Liam was not in a place where he could provide that. His jet-setting lifestyle, endless promotional tours, and emotional struggles left little room for the family life Cheryl desired. Their eventual breakup only fueled Liam's descent into a life of addiction and self-destruction. Despite their attempts to co-parent, Cheryl was left to shoulder most of the responsibility for raising Bear, while Liam continued to battle his inner demons. Those closest to him tried to help, but it seemed nothing could pull him back from the edge. As his addiction worsened, so did his behavior, and soon he was dropped by managers, alienating many who once supported him. His unpredictable lifestyle, combined with erratic relationships and substance abuse, painted a portrait of a man who was utterly lost. Even as his world spiraled out of control, Liam remained haunted by the unresolved trauma of his childhood. Though the full details of his trauma remain undisclosed, it was clear to those around him that it cast a long shadow over his life. No amount of fame or fortune could fill the void left by the emotional wounds he carried from his formative years. His friends described him as a man deeply uncomfortable with his success, unable to enjoy the fruits of his labor despite his incredible achievements. For all the adoration he received from fans, it was never enough to heal the hurt inside. Liam Payne's story is a tragic reminder of the heavy cost of fame, particularly for those who enter the spotlight too young and without the emotional support needed to navigate its challenges. For all his fame, fortune, and talent, Liam was ultimately a man lost in a world that could never offer him the peace he so desperately sought. His story is not just one of addiction or a failed relationship, it is a story of a boy who never truly escaped the traumas of his past and was swallowed by the very world that promised him the stars. As we remember Liam Payne, it is crucial to look beyond the headlines and the tabloid stories of scandal and self-destruction. His life was one of immense talent and potential, but also of deep pain and unhealed wounds. In the end, his story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of fame and the importance of mental health and emotional support, no matter how high one climbs on the ladder of success.